what we're now going to do is we're going to do a complete run through from quote all the way through to invoice out at the end. And we're going to go through it quite quickly just to give you the flow of how everything works. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a job card. We're going to create a new job for Acme service, which doesn't exist. So I'm going to go and create that as a new customer. Give it a phone number. That's probably all I need at this point in time. So we now have a job for Acme Services. What's the problem? It's not working. And the service question is please fix it. We'll go and make this a quote because we're going to have to quote them some parts. And on this quote, we're going to then go into our job details and we're going to add some parts onto the quote. So we're going to need one of those. I don't care. And I'll do that for there. And we're going to need another part as well. One of these, whatever it happens to be. I don't care. That'll do. We've got two parts on there. I've now created my quote. I'm going to print out my quote and email that off to the customer. So really what I should do is I should go and print to email. And there's my email, which I can then go and send off with the quote attached on that email. Look, that's not the quote. It's a different layer. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I've now gone and sent off the quote to the customer. They've spoken to us about it. They're happy with the quote. We're now going to accept the quote. So to accept the quote, all we do is bring up the job again and we simply untick the quote option. Yes, I want to keep that. I'm happy with that. And save that. Oh, must have an order number because it's set up as a compulsory order number in the system. So I'll put in my order number and we'll go and save that. And now we have converted our quote over into a job. And if you'll see here, this is an archived copy of the quote as an attached PDF so that we can see exactly how the quote looked in the beginning as opposed to how it might end up at the end, and we can see differences and that sort of a thing. So we've now got our quote, which is fantastic. What we now want to do is order the items required for this particular job because we don't have the items in stock. So what we're going to do is we'll play the role of people. I could go straight to ordering the parts, but what I'll do is I'll go and say I'm not the storeman, I'm not allowed to order parts, I will requisition these parts. So I'm going to click on requisition. I'm going to go create a stock requisition. And what I want to do is I want to requisition the quoted items. I won't worry about this. So we're going to go and click on requisition the quoted items, and it's gone and created a stock requisition for me. That's all I need to do. I'm finished now. You can now see that the requisition is red, which means there's a requisition on here. And if I pop that up, you can then go and view the current stock requisitions, and you will see here that these are my items that I have gone and requisitioned for that particular job. So let's just drop out of there. So we've got 81488. So I'm finished with this job now for the moment. I'll just get rid of that. I'm the storeman who comes along and needs to fulfill requisitions. So I'm going to go up here into my product requisition commitments page. I'm going to call up requisitions, and I don't want available stock. I want all stock. So these are all the things that need to be requisitioned. If I wanted to take it out of stock, I would just say available stock, which I've got nothing. But no, I want to purchase these things, so I'm going to say all stock. And these are the two that I want to requisition for my particular job here. So I want to purchase these. So I'm going to tick on that one, and I'm going to tick on that one. So these are the two that I want to actually let me remember how to do this. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to order. I've completely forgotten what I have to do here. Yes, I want a requisition. I want to order one of those, and I want to order. I've completely forgotten. I completely mucked that up, because that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to have to edit this. Requisition is taking it out of stock. No, I've forgotten how to do this. This has definitely have to be edited. This video. Let me just remember how I do this. Order, process, print, apply, reorder. There it is. Reorder button. Okay, let's take that back from the beginning again. I'll exit from there. So I'm the storeman, and I'm coming along, and I want to go and process my requisitions and order stock. So what I'll do is I'll come down here to the product requisitions and commitments section, and I don't actually want to process any requisitions. What I want to do is reorder them. So I'm going to click my reorder button, which is going to show me all my requisitions that are due for reordering, which are these ones here, and I want to reorder these two requisitions. So I'll order that one there and that one there. I won't bother with those two for the moment. And I'm happy with that. We should probably choose the supplier that it's going to be requisitioned from. If I had set it up beforehand, the default supplier would be in there. Let's just say it's that company there. So I'm happy. I've got those marked off. I now want to reorder those items. And it's gone and created an order for me, 679. So that's the end of that part of the requisition. So the storeman has now ordered the parts. I'll just exit out of there. What we'll now do is we will now go into the purchase order module. So I need to then send those orders to the supplier. So if I go into my purchase order module, we will find that I now have that order 679 in there to Vic Air Supplies with my two line items ordered for job 81069. And I can now go and email this purchase order off to the supplier. And there's my email with my purchase order attached. If I just launch that, you can see there's my purchase order attached. And I can then send that off to the supplier. So I've now gone and placed my order to the supplier. Eventually the goods come in. Let's just say it's very simple. The goods have come in with the supplier invoice. I can go and receive those items in. This is my supplier's invoice number. In there, I'm going to receive all of the line items, and it just so happened that the cost was a little bit different. It went down, so I can adjust the cost for that one down to $58, for example. I can then go and receive them in. And now these items are received. You can see my received column has a date in there, and that's completed the purchase ordering cycle. What I can now go and do is go back to the job itself. So I'll close that down. I've now got all my parts into the job, and you can see that I now have actual parts on this. Oh no, I don't have actual parts on this job. Okay, what do I have? Did I receive them into stock? Oh, I was at the wrong job. I need to do a lot of editing on this particular one here. 81069. I'm completely looking at the wrong job. 81069. No, that's not it either. What did I do? Geez, I'm not doing this one very well, am I? Let me try that again. I'm going to requisition. I want to reorder I've completely forgotten how to do this. No. All parts. Include parts. Stock item. What did I do? Let me look at that order. I'm going to have to redo this whole recording, I think. This one's for Y81069. This is the wrong items completely. Maybe I should start this whole thing again. I think I'm going to start this whole thing again. View current stock requisitions, which they're here. I want to reorder. Why don't they appear on here?
Because you already reordered.
I did, but where did they go is the question. I'm going to start this all over again. I'm going to delete these items. I wasn't really taking a lot of notice of what I was doing, I was just doing. Okay, let's start this again. We're going to add some, okay, we'll start again from the point where we add parts to the quote.
Usually quote has the full quote amount including labor costs, but it only has part cost.
Oh, I didn't put labour in there. There's a
option.
There's a option for labour hours, 2 hours or whatever, or I can put my service fee, or you typically would put a labour as a part of type labour with like 3 hours or something like that. I just don't know why that didn't work. So we're going to start again. So we have our quote here and we're going to add parts to the quote. So we're going to require, let's say, one of those. Yeah, we know that. It's not parts. And we're going to add in one more, which would be one of, let's say, these. I'm happy with that now. So what we're now going to do is convert this quote to a job by unticking the quote button and saving that, and then that creates a job from that quote, of which the quote is now linked as a document on the job. I'm now going to requisition the parts by creating a requisition, and that's the end of my job as the person creating the quote. As the storeman, I'm going to come along and I am going to reorder parts from requisitions, and these are my requested parts in here. I'm going to set the supplier that I want to order the parts to, and I want to reorder those parts. Oh, sorry, and I want to set the quantities that I'm going to order. That doesn't look correct, does it? It already doesn't look correct. Did I order them?
Okay.
There's my requisition. View current requisitions. That's where I keep going wrong. There's my requisitions. I want to order. There's nothing there. It tells me that it's already gone and done it.
Do you have to follow it first?
No, there's no orders for this job. So I'm going to get this right. It's going to kill me. I must be doing something fundamentally wrong, or there's a bug in the software. One of the two. Let's do it again. I'm going to add a quoted part. I'm going to do this very slowly. Okay, I've added the parts. I'm converting the quote to a real job. Okay, it's a one of those and a 1,000 and an ANS. I'm going to requisition the parts. Happy with that. Now, very carefully, I'm going into reorder parts. They're not the parts that I had. And that's the reason why. Oops. There we go. We didn't include parts with no supplies. That's what the problem was, because I didn't have a supply. Okay, so let's continue on for that. So these are our two parts that we wish to reorder. We'll choose our supplier that we want to order it from. We will go and set the quantity that we want to order, and I'm going to now go and reorder those parts. Please work. And it created an order 680. Thank goodness for that. Okay, if we now go into our purchase order module, you will see that we have an order 680 for our job 81488. Here are our parts that we ordered for this particular job. I'm now going to receive those parts in. There happen to be a supply invoice number attached to those particular parts. When we received them, we found the price actually went down. It was $115, which is very nice. We'll set our quantity and we'll go and receive those parts in. So that's now been received. There's our supplier invoice that was received with those parts. What we're going to do is we'll exit out of the purchase order module, we'll come back to our job, refresh it, and what you'll see now is that we now have some actual parts on this job, which is great. We now have received those parts in for the job. We now need to go and issue the job out to someone to go and do the actual work itself. So now we move over to the dispatcher's role. So as the dispatcher is looking at the job center, and in the job center they are viewing probably, I'm guess, open jobs or unallocated jobs. I mean, the developer's very slow. Come on. Do that before. Okay. Oh, there are a very large number of jobs. Okay, so these are our open jobs. There are 2,349 of them. It probably should be jobs that are unallocated. Do I have jobs that are unallocated? No, I probably should just go and create a filter for that. And the employee, I'm going to edit this out as well. Job employee is empty. And we're going to save that as open unallocated jobs. So I'm going to edit this out and come back in to make this a bit slicker. But I might just do the whole presentation all over again at another time. Come on. It's going mad because it's loading up 2,500 jobs into the list with colours turned on, which slows it down immensely. Okay, so let's just choose our other filter, which is open jobs unallocated. Okay, Fantastic. So let's start all that all over again. So now I'm going to take on the role of the dispatcher, and as the dispatcher, I'm going to be living and breathing out of my job centre. And from this job centre, I can filter jobs of all different sorts. In this case, I'm choosing open unallocated jobs because I want to go and actually allocate these jobs to somebody. And if I go right down the bottom, we'll find there's my job 81488. Now this job centre will go hand in hand with our visual scheduler. So the visual scheduler is our calendar for the day, and we probably want to work maybe on let's say this afternoon, and we can see that Rob is free this afternoon, so maybe 2 o'clock this afternoon Rob can go and do that job. So what I do is I go and grab the job from here and drop it onto 2 o'clock for Rob, and it's probably going to take an hour, so I'll make it go to 3 o'clock, let's say, and I've now gone and assigned that job to Rob. And if I go back to the job here and go back to the job logging, you will now see that it's due on the 17th at 2 o'clock for 1 hour, and it's been assigned to Rob to do the job. So that's a very simple way of how we can schedule the job to Rob. Now, if Rob has his mobility in the field software, that job will now just appear in his job list, and he can go and carry out that job. So what we're going to do is we won't do that. We'll assume that we're continuing on in the back office. So we've now gone and finishing off the job. So we type in what we did, we fixed it. That'll appear as the invoice comment. We can add our timesheets in. Just go and I have to go and save that first. Okay, we fixed it. Go and save that. We'll add our time in. So Rob worked, let's say, from 1400 through to 1500. That's 2 to 3. And that's a standard labour. He wouldn't be doing this normally. He'd be using his timer out in the field where he starts his clock and stops his clock, but we'll just do it manually here. We can also add additional parts onto the job over and above what was quoted if we want to, and that's just a simple matter of adding on another part, whatever that happens to be. That's one of those. Oops. That's one of those. No, I don't want to requisition it. I'll just use it anyway. And of course it's not going to let me do that because I don't have any stock. So that's going to cause me a bit of a problem. So I'll have to choose a different part that I have stock for. There we go, I'll use one of those. Oh, I'll use 2 of those. So I can add additional parts to the job if I want to. And then what I can do is when I've finished creating this job and everything on nicely, I can now go in here and complete the job, which will, let's use the debugger, assign it a completion date, and then I can go and raise the invoice against this particular job. It's taking a snapshot of the invoice now and attaching that as a linked document here, and then I can go and have a look at that invoice and email that off to the customer. So I've now almost finished that. What would be nice is to be able to look at whether I was profitable on the job or not. So in the job summary button down here, I can go click on the job summary and I can see some details about this job. I can see what my parts cost me, what profit I made on my parts, my markup and margins. I can look at my labour figure here, and it also shows me the difference to what I originally quoted. It's $40 different to what I originally quoted because I added an extra part, if you remember, into the job. You look at the labour, I can see exactly what my labour cost me. I don't have any costs set up. There would be labour costs, what I sold it for, what my margins and markups are, and the difference from the quote. And a job overall, I can see what it cost me, my total, my profit, my markups and margins, and how it differed from the quote. I can see a little breakdown of the hours. I was assigned 1 hour, I actually worked 1 hour, I billed 1 hour, and so on. And some timing statistics of time between log to commence the job, log to complete the job, commence to complete, and so on, which obviously don't make any sense in the demo that we gave, but you'd understand that.
Did you profit?
Sorry?
Did you profit?
Did I?
Did you profit on this?
I did.
Yeah, 260.
I did. I made $265.63
Okay.
profit,
And then
which is 61% markup or 38%
three
margin.
different profits.
Well, this is the parts profit, this is the labour profit, this is the overall profit.
Overall.
Overall of the job as a whole.
I see.
What I'm now going to do is I want to do a payment against this particular job. So what I can do is go into the receipts module. Excuse all these little pop-ups, it's part of my developer. And so there's my, excuse me for 1 second, I'm just going to get rid of this little window here. Okay, so I'm going to go add a new cash receipt. There's my invoice. They owe me $699, but I'm not going to receive $699. I'm getting a partial payment of $100, which might be a deposit on the job or something along those lines. I need to put my control total in here purely because I've got a setup option that says that I need to have a control total of $100. Why is that important? Well, if I'm applying amounts $1,000 across 5 different invoices, you want to make sure that you fully applied that $1,000. So I've got my control total in here. I can put my payment type if I like, so it might be I'm paying by Visa, for example. If that's the case, I can put my Visa card details in there. I'll go and save that payment. And what you'll now see is I now have $100 paid against this particular job, and I have amount owing of $599.40 instead of $699.40. And that's pretty much the end of that cycle of quoting through to invoicing and payment.